Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. No matter where you stand on Donald Trump, one thing's for sure. After his huge success in elections in 2024, his presidency could bring some major changes to America. So, what does the next 5 years look like if Trump returns to the White House? Well, there's a lot to consider. First, the economy. Trump has always emphasized lower taxes and deregulation, but will that be enough to tackle inflation and job growth? And what about the stock market? Some predict a boom, while others worry about instability. Then there's immigration. Trump has promised stricter border policies, which could mean more deportations, tighter asylum rules, and even efforts to revive his border wall. But how would that impact businesses relying on immigrant labor? Foreign policy is another big one. Will Trump's America First approach shake up international alliances? His past relationship with NATO, China, and Russia raises big questions about trade, diplomacy, and even global conflicts. And, of course, social issues. From Supreme Court decisions to education policies, a second Trump term could mean significant changes in areas like healthcare, LGBTQ+ rights, and even free speech regulations on social media. Bottom line, whether you support him or not, a Trump victory in 2024 can redefine America's future. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives. Let's get into it. First up, the economy. In his election campaign in 2024, he's promised to bring back his aggressive pro-business policies. That means major tax cuts, deregulation, and a big push for American manufacturing. He argues that cutting taxes on businesses and individuals will fuel job growth and investment. But will these policies actually create a booming economy, or could there be unintended consequences? One of Trump's key strategies is reducing government oversight, making it easier for businesses to operate. Supporters say this will drive economic expansion, encourage entrepreneurship, and attract more companies to the U.S. But critics argue that less regulation could lead to corporate abuses, environmental issues, and financial instability. Then there's trade. Trump has always taken a hard stance on international trade, advocating for tariffs on foreign goods to protect American industries. He might escalate trade wars with China and other countries, aiming to bring jobs back to the U.S. But here's the big question. Will this approach strengthen the economy? Or will it lead to higher costs for businesses and consumers? Tariffs often mean more expensive goods, which could fuel inflation and put pressure on American households. It's also worth looking at Trump's first term. Before the pandemic hit, the U.S. economy was booming with record low unemployment and strong stock market growth. But was that success due to his policies, or was it just a continuation of trends from the previous administration? And if Trump returns, will the economy see the same kind of rapid recovery, or are today's challenges, like inflation, global instability, and rising debt, too different to compare? Ultimately, Trump's economic plan could have a huge impact on everything from wages and jobs to the cost of living and global trade. So, what do you think? Will his policies bring back economic prosperity, or are the risks too high? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Next up, immigration. This was a cornerstone of Trump's first term, and if he wins in 2024, expect it to take center stage once again. His plans include expanding the border wall, enforcing stricter asylum rules, and increasing deportations. But will this approach actually solve the crisis at the border, or will it spark even more legal battles and protests? Let's start with the border wall. Trump's first term saw hundreds of miles of border barriers built or reinforced, and he's likely to push for even more. His argument? A stronger physical barrier will reduce illegal crossings, curb drug trafficking, and enhance national security. However, opponents argue that walls aren't enough. Many undocumented immigrants enter legally and overstay their visas, meaning stricter enforcement might not fully address the issue. Then there's asylum. Trump has long criticized what he calls loopholes in the system, and he's likely to make it harder for migrants to claim asylum in the U.S. This could mean faster deportations and tougher eligibility requirements, but immigration advocates warn that this could violate international law and put vulnerable people in danger. And, of course, deportations. Trump has promised large-scale removals of undocumented immigrants, which could mean expanded ICE operations. Supporters see this as necessary for law and order, but critics fear it could separate families and trigger backlash from immigrant communities. So, will Trump's immigration policies bring order to the system, or will they create even more controversy? Now, let's talk about foreign policy. On the world stage, Donald Trump's America First approach could bring some major changes. This means reshaping U.S. relationships with allies and adversaries alike. So, what might that look like? First, NATO. Trump has long argued that America pays too much for global defense while other NATO countries don't contribute their fair share. If he returns to the White House, expect renewed pressure on European allies to increase their defense spending, or even the possibility of the U.S. pulling back from some commitments. That could strengthen America's position financially, but could it also weaken Western unity, especially with ongoing conflicts like the war in Ukraine? Then there's China. Trump has been one of the most vocal critics of China's economic policies, and a second term could mean even tougher tariffs, stricter trade policies, and efforts to curb China's influence in global markets. This could help American industries compete, but it might also escalate tensions, affecting everything from technology supply chains to military strategies in the South China Sea. Iran is another big factor. During his first term, Trump withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal and imposed heavy sanctions. If he returns, we could see even harsher measures, or possibly a push for a completely new deal. The question is, will this approach deter Iran's nuclear ambitions, or will it increase the risk of conflict in the Middle East? But it's not all about confrontation. Trump has also emphasized diplomacy through bold, unconventional deals. The Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, were a historic achievement. Could we see more agreements like this under a second Trump term? Or will tensions in the region make diplomacy harder? Ultimately, Trump's foreign policy could bring major shifts in America's role on the global stage. Will his America First strategy lead to stronger national security and economic benefits? Or could it create new conflicts and global instability? Now, let's talk about one of the most polarizing aspects of a second Trump presidency, America's culture wars. The political divide over social issues could grow even deeper, with major implications for abortion rights, gun laws, and free speech. One of the biggest factors? The Supreme Court. With a conservative majority already in place, we could see more rulings that reshape key policies. Abortion is likely to remain a hot-button issue after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Will Trump push for a national abortion ban, or will states continue to set their own rules? And how will that impact voters, especially in swing states? Gun rights are another area to watch. Trump has strong support from the NRA and gun rights advocates, and his second term could mean fewer restrictions on firearms. Could this lead to expanded concealed carry laws and fewer gun control measures, or will states push back with their own regulations? Then there's free speech. Trump has repeatedly criticized social media companies for what he calls censorship of conservative voices. If re-elected, he might push for policies that limit the power of tech giants like Meta, Google, and X, formerly Twitter. But will that protect free speech, or will it create new challenges around misinformation and platform regulations? At the heart of all this is a big question. Will Trump's policies bring Americans together under shared values, or will they further divide an already polarized nation? Let's talk about technology and climate policy, two areas that could see major changes under a second Trump presidency. First, energy. Trump has always been a strong supporter of fossil fuels, favoring oil, gas, and coal over renewable energy. He argues that energy independence is key to keeping prices low and boosting the economy. If re-elected, we could see more drilling permits, fewer environmental regulations, and a rollback of Biden's clean energy initiatives. But what does this mean for climate change? While some say it will strengthen U.S. energy production, others warn it could slow down efforts to reduce carbon emissions. On the tech front, Trump has taken a hands-off approach to regulating big tech and artificial intelligence. That could mean fewer restrictions on tech giants like Google, Meta, and X, formerly Twitter, which could fuel rapid innovation. But with less oversight, what happens to data privacy and online safety? Could AI develop at a pace that outstrips regulation, leading to unintended consequences? At the same time, Trump has been a vocal critic of social media censorship. If he returns to office, we might see new policies that limit the power of tech companies to moderate content. But will that enhance free speech, or will it open the door to more misinformation? Overall, Trump's approach to tech and climate policy could have a huge impact on the future of energy, innovation, and digital freedoms. Will his policies push the U.S. forward, or could they create long-term risks? So, what's the verdict? In his second term, there's no doubt that America will see some dramatic changes. On one hand, his supporters argue that his policies could lead to economic growth, stronger national security, and a pushback against government overreach. Businesses might thrive under lower taxes and deregulation, and his America First stance could reshape global trade and diplomacy. But for others, a Trump comeback raises concerns about increased political division, potential rollbacks on social policies, and uncertainty in areas like healthcare, climate action, and international relations. His tough stance on immigration and trade could lead to both economic opportunities and legal battles. One thing's for sure, America's future under Trump would be anything but predictable. Whether you see his leadership as a bold step forward or a risky path, his impact will be felt across the economy, the courts, foreign policy, and the culture wars. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Will a second Trump presidency lead to success and stability, or deeper divisions and challenges? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.